To study Ingmar Bergman is to study the many actresses he often worked with. Much ink has been spilt on his collaborations with esteemed legends like Harriet Andersson, B.B. Anderson, Liv Ullmann, Ingrid Thulin, Pernilla August, who played Shmi Skywalker in The Phantom Menace? What the fuck? But before Bergman had met any of these women, there was another key player who brought the best out of Bergman. This woman was Maj Britt-Nilsson. Though often understudied within Bergman's repertory company, Nilsson was the first actor to become a major recurring collaborator, and she deserves recognition, not only for the quality of her performances, but also for the ways she challenged Bergman to be a better filmmaker. Nilsson and Bergman worked together 3 times between 1950 and 1952. Into Joy, Nilsson plays the long-suffering wife to Bergman's misanthropic stand-in, Stig. Though largely a secondary character, Nilsson's performance is the highlight of the film, the great actress suggesting layers of depth and feeling in Marta that the film itself isn't terribly interested in exploring. But with Summer Interlude, Nilsson would take center stage, in the process giving a virtuoso performance. As a dancer who faces tragedy, Nilsson demonstrates remarkable range, embodying a sense of youthful romanticism in the flashbacks, along with a world-weary fatigue just a few years later. The difference between these two stages is quite subtle, yet Nilsson still draws a powerful distinction. In Waiting Women, Nilsson returned to a supporting role, but one that serves as the heart of the movie. Nilsson must once again contrast a world-weary adult with flashbacks of her younger, bright-eyed self, but in many ways, her role is even more challenging here. Nilsson not only has far less screen time, but also far less dialogue. Much of Marta's story in Waiting Women plays out without words, with Nilsson needing to put forth a sea of conflicting emotions with only the smallest of looks and expressions. Consider, for example, how fully Nilsson conveys the excited joy of falling pregnant, the fear and desire of becoming a mother, and the crushing realization that her lover won't prioritize her or their child, all without words. Though Nilsson does have a handful of lines towards the end of this sequence, and indeed throughout the film, it's really her face that carries the emotional heft of the story. This is one of the major ways Nilsson challenged Bergman to be better. In being able to express so much without words, Nilsson encouraged Bergman to rely more on his actors, and by extension, to construct scenes that relayed their drama in ways other than through dialogue. Across all 3 films, Nilsson plays the traumatic and emotionally fraught scenes with gusto, but it's the moments of joy that I'm actually most drawn to. Her performance as Marta is the one spark of love in the otherwise hostile to joy, while her turn in Summer Interlude is simply delightful. She's such a lovely and warm presence that she positively lights up the screen. There is less overt wonderment in Waiting Women, but amidst the ambivalence of fading romance is a deeply moving look at motherhood, brought to life with moving sensitivity from Nilsson. And it's here that we see Nilsson's most profound effect on Bergman. While Bergman had always been interested in women, his earlier films had trouble seeing women as more than just victims. These were stories of women who suffered and were acted upon. Ultimately, the 3 Nilsson films are also loaded with tragedy and pain, but are nonetheless stories where the heroine is granted a much more complete life, and that's precisely because of the vibrancy Nilsson brings to the screen. Waiting Women would be the last collaboration between Ingmar Bergman and Maj Britt-Nilsson, but her influence forever changed Bergman's capabilities as a filmmaker. Through sheer strength as a performer, Nilsson brought a more complex portrait of femininity to Bergman's cinema while simultaneously elevating the quality of performances within his work. The effects of both would echo throughout Bergman's career.